So guys, I just got done reading Dragon Ball Super's Chapter 3, which is the physical copy that I bought at Barnes & Noble a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And there is a moment in this chapter that really got me thinking. This is the one where we first see Zamasu and Goku Black first goes Super Saiyan Rose, faces off against Vegeta. And he overwhelms him, and then Vegeta gets injured. And when he is injured, there's a panel where he's holding his left arm. And I've seen a lot of people comment on this, that Vegeta's always holding the same arm whenever he's injured. So I went back and I looked at some of the scenes. I actually just typed in Vegeta left arm in Google Images, and it shows up all the times he's ever held that arm. Whenever he's injured, he always holds that arm. So it got me thinking, why is Vegeta doing this? Why are they drawing him this way? And it could be just thrown off as maybe as nostalgia. They keep putting him in this pose because of nostalgia purposes, which more than likely is the case. But I'd like a more real world answer to this. So what I did is I looked up what could be the possible reason for him to be holding this arm in this manner. And what I found on Google was it's called a chronic wound. Essentially a wound that flares up and never really heals properly. And something that actually makes it flare up a lot is a lot of physical trauma to your body. That's where it really comes up. Actually, you get a lot of people who are older who have had injuries in the past, and whenever they get tired or their bodies start getting worn out, if they're doing too much manual labor, then things start flaring up, like their joints, their knees, old wounds in the legs, anything really. And that's what a chronic wound is called. So I got this and I applied it to Vegeta, and it actually makes a lot of sense, because one of the most infamous scenes in Dragon Ball Z is where Android 18 fights off against Vegeta, and then she breaks his arm. She breaks the exact same arm that Vegeta has been holding on to for 20 something years after every single fight. And it's just astounding to me that nobody has really talked about this in this way anyway. They've mentioned this arm being this way, but they've never mentioned what could possibly be the reason for it. And I believe that Android 18 broke Vegeta's arm. And I don't think that Vegeta has ever had an arm being broken in this way. I don't think that he has. So in that sense, this is really one of the worst injuries that Vegeta has ever had. I mean, he has been shot in the chest and he has exploded. But what I'm saying is an injury that he sort of walked away from, because he did walk away from it. And I don't think that his wounds healed themselves properly in that arm. And so he's always been at a disadvantage when it came to that arm. And I believe that whenever he's in a confrontation where he gets beaten up, that is the reason he's always holding that arm, because that is a chronic wound that keeps flaring up. The arm where his bones broke and never really settled themselves back together again. Now, there is one point where it could kind of be debunked, and actually any of this stuff can be debunked. This is just my theory, but there is one point where Vegeta actually ends up dying. But I can actually kind of quantify this, where this doesn't really deter this theory too much because of how wishes work. Well, Vegeta ends up dying, as you guys remember. He ends up dying with facing off against Fappu. He self-destructs. Everyone knows this. And then he gets his body back temporarily to help Goku. King Yama lets him have his body back, go help Goku, and they fuse to form Vegeta. After that, they end up going to the Kai's planet, and they face off against Kid Buu. And then Vegeta still gets beaten up, but he ends up coming back to life when they wish him back to life. He is one of the good guys that gets brought back to life from Kid Buu's victims. And even Goku makes a whole thing about this. He's like, oh, you're one of the good guys now, blah blah blah. So yes, Vegeta comes back. So where am I going with this? Well, as we saw in Resurrection of F, when bodies come back, they come back in the way with whatever they whatever injuries, I guess they come back as complete replicas of when they passed. So I mean, this could be sort of debunked, I guess, because then you'd have bodies coming back as, you know, dust, because Vegeta destroyed a lot of people in the in the martial arts tournament, and they were vaporized essentially, and then lo and behold, they came back with their full bodies. So I mean, this, you know, if they really came back in their original state from when they died, they'd be coming back as dust, I guess. But in Resurrection F, we get Frieza's body coming back, and it was cut into millions of pieces, not millions, but hundreds of pieces by Trunks, and it was left there, and then that's how he died, essentially. He was blasted, and I guess those pieces came back, but they came back in that sense. That's the only way the dragon could bring them back, and then they used the resurrection technology to kind of mold them back together again. So in that sense, I feel like the bodies do end up coming back as complete replicas of their original bodies. So it's not like he came back with a brand new body that never experienced any of the hardships or anything from the past. So he still, when he was revived, he came back with that wound, and that's why it still flares up throughout Dragon Ball Super. But those are just my thoughts on this. I wanted to have a legitimate way to explain this, I guess. And if you guys like this video and want to share it around so other people know this explanation for it, because I know a lot of people are posting memes about it, go ahead and share it, let people know. And I want to hear your thoughts as well. What do you guys think about this theory? Do you guys think that has some basis in truth? Are there any ways that you guys can debunk this? If you can, I will debate you in the comment section. Let me know, guys. If you liked anything that I had to say, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you like Dragon Ball content or you enjoy my content. This is going to be BlackScape signing off.